Put your seatbelts on. Please put your tables up in the up position. Put away any liquids. Close up your books. Turn your cell phones off unless you happen to be watching the show. We're going to get ready because the flight's going to be in just a few minutes. Stand by. Coming down from New York, the crazy person getting behind the mic and the camera. I spelled makeup wrong, fellas. There's supposed to be an E in there. Oh, no. Rockin' to the beat. All right, we're going to be kicking some butt tonight. And I am aggravated. I'll tell you guys all about it. That's a cool tune. Let's shut it down, come in. Here we go! What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It's like we got a bunch of people in here. I want to say hey to everybody. And I am absolutely aggravated. I tried to get in early. I kind of had a lot of things prepped out. And it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter that I had things like laid out, prepped out a little bit. So then I'm in the house trying to get my coffee and get ready. My daughter comes home. I'm like, you got to get the dog out. You got to get the dog because he just shits in the house and then rolls in it. And then the mop has got to come out and you got to remove the bedding. And so anyway, I'm like, I finally convinced her, get him out. She's like, well, bring him in before you go out. I'm like, I really don't want to do that. But, you know, she's not going to pay attention. So as soon as I bring the dog in, he goes, oh, I'm fixing his bed. He goes to step on the bed as I'm still fixing it, and he shits all over. And I'm yelling at the dog, and my daughter doesn't like it when I yell at the dog. I'm like, I'm going to kick the dog, yell at the dog. Get the hell out of here. What are you doing? She doesn't like that, so she starts yelling at me. And I start yelling. I'm like, Christina, the dog, first of all, he's hard of hearing. He's a little bit demented. He thinks it's now okay to crap in the house. Like, it's like, can somebody do me a favor? Let the dog in because he's got to take a shit. Right? Let the dog in because he won't do it outside. And he generally doesn't pee out, in the house, but if he has no choice. But because he can't walk, he doesn't want to go down the steps. He doesn't like walking. We've been medicating him. He gets a little bit better. But, he's like last night I had to block off the entry to the living room with a piano stool. And then I had to block off another area. And then he tried to go underneath and I'm like, I got to put a stool there. And then I'm chasing around for like 20 minutes just to get the damn dog. And then he stands there and he doesn't want to take the first step. And then he backs up. So you got to close the door in the mudroom so he doesn't turn around and go back into the kitchen. It's just, it's a nightmare. The mop has got to come out. Then you got to rinse the mop out and you got to get the mop ready in case he decides to sleep. And he'll sleep and just impact diarrhea underneath his and he's got a big tail with big hair, big fur, and it's just such an effing nightmare. So that went down. Fortunately, it was mostly little pooplets that were, fairly well formed. And then I come out here and I'm like, I start up the stream and I'm like, oh, I'm getting the message right away that there's not enough bandwidth. And I noticed it today again. So I ran the speed test by Oogla and I got like almost 100 down, but that YouTube live streams require an up speed. So normally I get about 30. and I was getting the 1.5, which the stream will hang, it will stutter, it will be a piece of crap, right? It'll just be horrible. So then, all right, let's go back in the house, try to reboot the modem, shut the modem down, wait a little while, in and out a couple of times. Then I'm like, all right, let me log into my router and just kind of like noodle around with it, and then reboot the router from the router. And there's a big insect over there flying around, and he's coming this way. I'm like, let me try that. And finally I got it to recognize like 30 up, which is usually about what I get. That's way more than I need, but 1.5, let's see, where's my stream right now? So it is 6514 kilobytes per second. So it's about 67 kilobits per second. That's 6.5 megabits per second, right? So I usually get about 30 megabits. Let me see what it says here. So that's fine. Yeah, I'm getting 37.10. I'll show you. Well, yeah, you can basically see it. I'll show you on here. Let me see. No, we don't want that monitor. So I just ran the test. So I get 94.82 down, but 37.10 up. And it's basically just like a regular internet speed. It's not like anything fancy. But I think, there's a lot of people here. There's like millions of people. And I think what happens is at certain times a day, they throttle you. They're like, oh, look, he's not using upload. We'll steal upload and give it to the download, because most people just download. They don't really upload. So we'll steal from Arch and, and give to somebody else. And it's kind of hard to force a release renew on the IP. You could do it from here, but that's just going to force the router, not the modem. So that's I don't want that anyway. Besides, I kind of have it set static because I don't want my IPs locally migrating. I kind of want to assign them. So I was just kind of noodling around a little bit, and I tried it again, and then I decided to reboot the modem from here and do like a real, reboot command, and came back, did another speed test. I'm like, all right, there it is, 30 something. That's good enough. So let me go through the list and see what everybody's doing. So I deleted the last one. I could see it right away. I'm like, now I know what to look for. All right, so Jamie O's here. He goes, okay, now. I go, yeah. He's like the big tease. Bleach is here. He says, hey, I finally made it to 1. How are you, Arch? No, it's not TWO, my brother. It's TOO. It's 2 is the number 2. I'm doing good. Bleach says, sorry, I'm so anti-YouTube. It's just party time for me in the garage. It's cool. All right, great. I've been checking you out a little bit, Bleach. I see you fooling around. I noticed that like you're every time you do something with a snapper, you get some decent views. So keep fooling around with the snapper. I mean, they're always fun. People like them. They like. I actually used my snapper earlier this week to grind up all the junk. I don't have a mulching blade or anything on it, but it did a pretty good job overall. I'm not unhappy with it. I'm thinking next year I'm going to set up like Ken has it. He's got, I don't know, Ken, do you have the mulching plate on or just the mulching blades? Because I need to block off the chute. It's a big chute. It chucks everything all over the place. And the bad thing is now we get the green tennis balls that come down off the walnut, the black walnuts. And I don't want them shooting all over the place. They'll break windows, for sure. Yeah, even with a block-off plate, they get out from underneath. Bravo says, can I bring you guys a beer while I'm at the kitchen? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Dragon's milk. Awesome elixir. Which says, I don't drink, just weed. So I'm like, yeah, weed brew. Brewed with weed, liquid weed. Bravo says, I had to quit weed 30 years ago. Yeah, it's just not as good as it used to be. Because kids were born, I had to grow up, be an adult. Yup. And Bravo says, now that the kids are grown and out on their own, it just doesn't interest me anymore. Not sure why. I always thought it was good to relax and to mellow out, but it was an ambition killer. Like, if I really want to do something, the last thing that I would want to do is smoke anything other than a cigarette and have a cup of coffee. Like, even booze, like one beer. Yeah, well, now I can't drink because, I mean, I want to have another beer at some point like I had last time. It felt so good. But it goes right to sugar, and my blood sugars will just go through the roof immediately. When I have like a Long Island bagel, I can only have half, and then I have to inject for it. It's horrible being a diabetic. I keep getting skinnier. I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to like totally waste away. The only good thing is that I keep getting stronger and my tendons are getting better and my joints are okay, except for my hip, which has been a problem for years. But I have more endurance, more stamina than I've had in a long time. And I generally don't get sick. I don't have allergies. Everybody's like, I see the reports, like it's been so dry, the pollen or mold spores or whatever is like through the roof. People are sneezing and gacking. But none of that. I don't really catch cold, or I just get tired. You know, I just getting more bald, and the diabetes just kind of wrecked my teeth initially, and never had it. I had like one cavity in like 50 years. Well, no, it would be like 40 years, I guess, because I had them when I was younger. And then it's just such a weird disease. It's so weird. I wish they would come up with a cure. They don't cure anything anymore. It's like they don't care. They don't give a crap. Hey, it's CRISPR. This is Blarney. What's up, Blarney? Bravo says, wait, hold on. Get a cat, Arch. Way more convenient. I love the dog. Robert says Apollo is the pea lady's dog. I know. I mean, I love the dog. I feel bad. Like I keep telling Christina, I'm like, we're going to have to put it down at some point because he's going to get to the point, because you know how animals age, right? This stuff happens fast. And how am I going to wash the dog in the freezing cold? Because another couple of months, the hose is going to be frozen. I'll be freezing. The dog will be freezing. I mean, I guess I'll cross that bridge, but I'm like, Christina, dogs, he bites me, right? Like he bit me the other day because I was rubbing him on his head too hard. She will comb him, and he's got like that thick hair, right? Or fur, and it will pull and get knotted, and it will hurt him. And she'll comb him and do that to him, and he comes over to me and bites me. No shit, seriously. Like, it's just that kind of relationship. Like, I don't kick him hard. I nudge him, but I can't hit him hard because his legs, got issues. He's got pains and sores, and I don't really want to leave him out because when dogs get older, they get sores, and if the skin gets abraded, it'll be open, and then the flies know right away, and they come over and they fester. And older animals are difficult to deal with when they get like this, and they just tend to go quick. And other than that, like, he's actually fairly healthy. You'll see him in a little while. You'll see him. I had him out the other day. We kind of load him up with some meds, and I got him on a plan, and I'm like, just keep him on this plan and watch his diet so that he doesn't have the diarrhea, and we'll try to make him as comfortable as we can. But he was always stubborn. He was always like that. That's why I called him Mr. Dog, because he would put his nose up like, I'm better than you, right? I'm not going to do that, right? You're telling me to do this? I don't know if I want to do that. He was always like that. When you put him on a leash, right? So this is an white Alaskan style husky. Like, I don't know if it's Alaskan or Siberian. I actually forget now. It's been so long. But when you put him on a leash, it's bred into him, right? You put that leash on, he's your dog. He doesn't need to look anywhere else. He doesn't care what other animal is around. He heels, he slacks the leash. He will do what you want him to do, go where you want him to go. There is no argument. You put that leash on him, he's just the best. And he's basically a good dog. Like, I've never seen anything like it. But if he wants to do something and he doesn't like what you're telling him, good luck. Right? You guys ever have an animal like that? I know cats are just like that by their nature, but yeah, this Ms. Miller mower, man. I was wondering I was like, is that Mick today? Yeah, I was checking out Ken's show today, and that was fun. It was good to see you guys helping out Pate. That's what the show's about. It was entertaining. It takes a while to learn a lot of the electrical stuff. If you've never been exposed to electrical or taken it in school or whatever, actually lawnmowers and tractors are a good way to start to learn that stuff. But yeah, it was a loose connection. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's got to be usually it's either a stupid switch, some safety switch somewhere, or it's got some kind of bad connection, because depending upon where you are, especially on Long Island, and Mick probably knows, but I'm closer to the salt water. But if you live in an area where there's a lot of water in the air constantly, and you have a machine that's been out, or I mean, it looked pretty clean, but any of these machines, anything that's been left out, good luck with that, right? It's sooner or later, somewhere, there's going to be connection issues. And you just got to go find it, you know? I like that one. I just bought a couple of tools I wanted to show you guys, but I want to do, we'll do that later on. I want to do just like an intro into, well, let me finish what's going on here, and I'll tell you guys. So, let's see. Apollo's the P lady's dog. Dilly Dilly. Brett says. Mick says, the more man. Who's this old guy chatting? Yep. Mick's like, hey, Robert. Malice is your rear engine snapper a high vac style of snap? I don't know. How do you tell? I mean, long since it's been since any stickers, right, that were on it. They're long gone. I don't know. I have no idea. Let's see. That's a good question. Bleach says, is it possible to make sugar-free beer? Well, it's not in the sugar. The sugar is in the alcohol, because alcohol immediately turns into sugar. I mean, as soon as it goes into you and you start digesting it, well, everything basically becomes sugar, right? I mean, when, you know, at the end of the day, that's what your body runs on. That's what your brain runs on. So it will, even the fats, if the body it needs the fat enough, it'll turn that into a glycogen, which is, your liver will do it. And it'll store a certain amount of glycogen, which your liver can only handle so much because it's not that big. And if you really don't need it, or if your metabolism is slow, it'll just change the compound a little bit and store it in your fat cells. But I don't have that. I don't have any fat cells anymore. So Mick says, mate, the UK is an island. I know, we are surrounded by water. That's so funny, right? I know. It is an island. Well, we're all like, it's, I mean, even a continent at some point, like if you think about it, like where I live in the United States, we have water everywhere, except for in the desert, of course. But that's like way in the middle of the country. You know, I mean, we're lucky. We've got it on three sides, essentially. Where I am here, it's kind of weird because we have, on this side is the bay and the Atlantic, right? And then, of course, there's all the rivers. But we get the bay and the Atlantic, so that's not far. That's maybe a couple of miles. Then on that side, we've got the bulk of the Atlantic Ocean, right? That's between me and Mick. But just up that way is Long Island Sound, which is an odd... It's kind of odd that they named it the Sound. It's damn near like it's basically an ocean itself. It's like down this way we have basins, the boat basins and stuff, and they're close to the ocean side. Really, this is the ocean, except that there's a barrier island over here, a fire island. So that barrier island creates a strange bay. It blocks a lot of the water, literally from blasting right in. But the Sound is a whole nother entity. And if you've ever been on it in the winter in a storm, on like a ferry that I used to do like every week, people just vomit. They just stand there and you're looking at them and they kind of get gray. They stop talking. And the boat is like this, right? And like I used to do that to some of the people that I knew. Like we'd start going out, getting out past the breakwater, and I'd start talking to them. I'm like, yeah, man, what's going up? You know, how was work today? Was it okay? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I had a pretty good time this weekend. How you doing? But they would just, at some point, I mean, they would just, they'd try to make it to a bathroom or over the side. And it was one girl in this one storm, the whole way for over an hour and a half. She was like, so there's an overhang in the back, and her girlfriend had her arm on her like shoulders and trying to rub her and kind of like hold on to her. A friend was over the railing, just constantly. I don't think she ever really got up. And the girl that was like kind of rubbing her back was trying to like lean over like where the awning was, like the overhang was for the upper deck, just to keep some of the wind in the rain. Yeah, some people they just hurl, you know. Taking your advice on the air compressor, Brett says, it's going bye-bye and I'm replacing it. Nice. I'm going to finance it. Yeah, you're better off. You don't need a really big one, though, dude, as big as that. Like, I have a smaller pump and a 2-horsepower motor, but I got a bigger tank. But, you know, you might want to sell I mean, if you feel uncomfortable, you might want to sell the whole upper section, because somebody like me, I would buy that. If I lived closer to you, I would just come and get it and throw the tank out, because I could use that. That's a nice, the whole pump and motor section. That's what I need to upgrade mine. Yeah, good to hear it, though. Yeah, he says, maybe I can get $100 for the old one. Yes, you definitely will. Yeah. You might be able to start off at 150, 200, because, price out what you got, because it's some decent stuff. And one of the things that you can do is say, you can pressure test it. No, let me back up. You can demonstrate it, that the pump and everything works, but then tell them, look, I'm not giving you the tank. I don't care who you are. I'm not giving you the tank. If you like it, you see what's here, you give me the deposit, you come back, and then just take everything off, and that way you can throw out. Because you wouldn't want to be part of somebody else making a mistake. It may not come apart, but the thing is when it does, it's a huge explosion. Yeah, it's devastating when that happens. So that's an idea. I do stuff like that. Like, I've done things like that before. I do not like to give. That's why, by the way, that's why I stopped fixing chainsaws. Not for nothing. We don't really live in an area where, I know some of you do chainsaws and you do a really good job, and you live in areas where it's absolutely a necessity. Here, people use it mostly for firewood. The pros, it's a different story with the pros. I'm talking about the regular public. I've seen some things. Oh no, no. I'm like, no. I'm done with chainsaws, unless it's a pro. Somebody that, and usually I'm not going to be a mechanic for a pro, because they already have people. Usually they go to the dealer still or whatever. A lot of people are getting into Echoes, sometimes for the extra saw or whatever. But yeah, I just don't want to be part of any of that, especially in New York. People are sue happy and stuff. I don't want to be. Says, I'm going to 30 gallon, pretty much the same as I have. Nice. Bravo says, seasickness is the worst ever. I know, I have had it. I had it on a sailing yacht out of Fort Lauderdale en route to Bahamas. Yeah, it's a long trip too. Holy hell, I would have had to have gotten better to die. Yeah, I got you. Bravo says, I have an old Craftsman 33 gal, 6 horsepower oilless, and it's good to paint a car. Yeah. I painted cars with mine. When you start to get to the new HVLPs and everything, that thing will pretty much do it, my little pump. But it's shot, and the motor is shot too, because I got the motor off of something else. It's second and third motor. The pump ate a screw one day. I think it came off that little flapper thing on the top that was part of the air cleaner, and it ate the screw in one of the pistons. And I took it apart. My friend Steve comes over, and I'm like, I've got the thing in the vise, and I have that welding rod, that aluminum welding rod, which actually works pretty good. And I shouldn't have listened to him, because I'm packing it with wet rags, and I've got this product that you can put. It absorbs heat. It's like a gel, and then it gets kind of weird and foamy. You don't need all of that. Well, I didn't put as much on as I should have, right? So I welded up the hole closed, dressed it down, and then I went to slip it back into the cast iron block, and it wouldn't fit because it swelled up. And I'm like, and he was already gone. It was like I'm on the phone. I'm like, you're an idiot. I shouldn't have listened to you. I told you aluminum swells. You don't understand what you're doing. When was the last time you weld aluminum? How do you always open up your mouth, right? Because that's how my friend Steve is. What are you doing? You don't need all of that. Well, dude, aluminum swells. Anyway, I got it to fit back in. It's been working like that for 7 years. Hey, hello, Mitch. Says, yeah, too bad you're not close. I'd sell to you. Absolutely. I know, 6 horsepower. I already have, 220 in the house here in the building. So I would love that. I've looked at some of the real Chinese stuff, and I don't know. I think I'm just going to buy a Campbell House field. The Campbell House fields on the lower end, they're about, if I were to guess, they're about as cheap as I would want to go. Until you get into the better stuff, right? But that, I don't think I want to try anything totally Chinese. I mean, because the crappier, the cheaper Camel House felts are kind of like Chinese, but they're like of a better standard. But like the no-name, off-brand, I don't know if I want that. Yeah, definitely cast iron pump. So last weekend, I didn't get a chance to come on because I want to show you guys. I got something special real quick. We'll bring up. Got a little quickie short I made for tonight. So last week I didn't come on because last Saturday I put the details on Big Mike's Simplicity Sunstar, and I wanted to make sure I kind of went over every little thing. There were some things that we didn't do that we'll save for next time. It's just a handful of mostly small things, except for the engine mounts. I was like, let me just spend a day noodling around with it. I want to get all these other little things done, get everything ready. It got late, because, I mean, even last week we had more daylight, on Saturday than we had like tonight, right? We're losing daylight every week. And he wanted to pick it up on Sunday. I said, well, I'll get as much done as I can, and then I'll crash. And maybe I'll do it live, maybe I won't. But then I'll crash, I'll hang out, veg out. I'll wake up in the morning. When I told him, whenever I wake up, I'm going to chill out, and then I'll call you when I'm ready. That way, I had a chance to like hang out with him. I wanted to take some footage, spend some time, fool around, chat, because he and I like to blah, 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 right? We're two big mouths. And then he can take the thing out of here. And I'm going to want to linger with it because I'm going to be kind of saying goodbye to it for a little while. It's been here for a while. And you guys know how much I like Simplicity Sunstars, almost as much as Zippo. Hey, Zippo, if you're out here, check this out. Let's break to the footage. Crank up your phones. Crank up the volume. Hold on, let me get set up. She came out sweet. Stand by. Make sure that's off. Here we go. All right, stand by for the Sunstar glow up. There we go. Yeah! Oh, that was fun. That thing is cool. You see the dog? Mr. Dog, he was hanging out with us, right? He was fooling around over there. So Big Mike's got his Sunstar back. Congratulations, Big Mike. And I said, thanks for letting me work on it and fooling around with it because I took forever to do it. But, I'm kind of I got to say, I'm a bit of a victim of my own success. This year was very busy. I got a lot of projects. A lot of good stuff was going on over here at Archer's Garage. And I've been just constantly working, which is nice because I am a bit of a workaholic. And I did manage to get all done. We're going to take a little deeper look in a minute. We'll go in and just poke at a few things. Let me see what you guys are up to. Hold on, I got to put my glasses back. I can't read this thing. I got to blow it up. I could break it away from the stream and just take a closer look, but... Okay, Brett says cast iron pump. The one I'm looking at is exactly the same as what I have now, just a little bigger tank. Not a fan of oilless, too loud. Oh, you mean oilless? Yeah. But Bravo says, I have that 33-gallon, 6-horsepower oilless, but with an air cooler dryer that works. I saw that one. That's in your video, the one that you made, right? I also have a 5-horsepower dual-cylinder charge air, 60-gallon, but I wouldn't use it to paint the car. Christmas says, man, that thing looks like new. It's built to last forever. Yeah, it is really pretty. Bravo says, oh, yeah, that oilless is loud as hell, but I can't freaking hear it anyways at my age, so it doesn't bother me. It bothers Darwin. Brett says, I had a Charge Air Pro in the late 80s, 3-horsepower, 20-gallon. I think I actually have. Let me see. Where is it? There. My old tank is actually up on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think it's still here. Yeah, let me see. Because I showed some of it. No, my old Worthington. Let's see. It's probably under playlists. Hold on. It's going to be a little while back, though. I saw it recently, like, oh, look, there it is. Because I had a whole bunch of problems and had problems with the wiring, and the power company blew up my box when that transformer blew out, and I had to rewire all of that. Let's see. It's around here somewhere. It's like, I actually want to go through some of my videos this year and look for the underperformers, you know, and get rid of them. Because they're just not doing anything. It's like I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, I was just working on a GC 190 on a sprayer pump and a pressure washer, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna package it as like a repair. It's just gonna be a repair, sort of tips and stuff on the GC 190, because like nobody watches the pressure washer stuff really. Like there's a couple of them that they have, but. Like I have a video on like how to like take care of and, you know, put away your pressure washer and your pump, make sure that it's going to last. No one watches that, right? No one's going to watch that. And that's why they're all broken and thrown out at the curb, and why most of us won't touch them, because they don't take care of it. They're not going to watch a video on taking care of it because they don't take care of it, right? You see where I'm going with the logic? They don't take care of it. They don't want to take care of it. They don't know anything about taking care of it. They don't want to know how to take care of it. Then they're wondering why they got to buy another one. Here it is. Yeah, let's see. We'll just kind of whip through it real fast since you guys are on the subject. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Put your pump and motor on it. Absolutely. Where? I just saw it. Where is it? Here it is. Let me open it up. Let me get it queued up. I tried fixing Mikey's oilless, but they're such pieces of crap. Let me make sure I've got everything set up. Yeah, that might work. Let me see. Put some audio into it. Yeah, that'll work. Hold on. Yeah, we'll zip through it. This is a different one.
An idea.
So that was Mikey's. This one, look at this thing. Wait.
Actually, the
look, this is the little motor. This is kind of like the one Johnny blew up. Look at watch what it does. Hold on. What? See it?
Oh, what's that?
I don't know why it was doing that. Hold on, make it do it again. Hold on. I was trying to fix it. I'm like, yeah, here, let's spray it with some lube and stuff. See how it's going good? I'm like, maybe that'll help. No.
Oh, what's that?
What's it doing? Why is it doing that? There's nothing wrong with the switches or the pressure thing or not. It's just what it does. Look.
That's weird.
That is weird. Oh.
Clean up those contacts?
I tried cleaning up the contact. All of a sudden now, and then it stops.
Oh, there it goes again.
Oh, that's going again? I don't know. I never figured it out. I don't know. I tried for it. Then it got really hot. After I took it apart and put it together again, the motor got really hot and so everything started smoking. Hold on. I was like, nah, I made something else out of it.
Right?
Yeah, I made this out of it. So I could like wheel it around the yard.
It's the same motor that was originally on there.
And so I had an extra pump, you know, while I was working on my main one. Let's see. Hold on. That's just me blabbling. Hold on.
Okay.
There it is. Let's go in the basement.
Boy, if I go to get... Well, I'll bring you down there. And there's the
Here we go.
compressor motor.
Let's go in the basement. Hold
That
on.
motor has got...
Let's go back up.
We descend down. Well, I'll bring
Let's
you down
go
there
into the
and show you.
basement over here.
You can see
It's in the shop. This is the shop's
ribs.
basement.
It's ribbed for her pleasure.
Ribbed for
And
her
they're pretty
pleasure.
deep.
That's what she said.
As
That's
we
what he
descend
said.
down into the depths of hell. So it couldn't have gone very far. It's a small little basement. Quite practical indeed. You can see I've got all kinds of junk in here.
I lost
And
something
here's
in
the other
here.
compressor motor. That motor has got issues. Not sure why it has issues. So we got a couple more controllers. That was the original Dayton tank. And of course, I've got that little air tank over there, which is useful for filling up tires and whatnot. But now I don't need it because I've made this other machine. I had to do some welding on the tank. It doesn't leak. I set it up with an automatic drain
That's an
valve,
old
and that's that
tank.
sound that you hear, and then a manual drain valve. This is obviously a different motor. It's a couple of horsepower. I had some issues with an adjuster belt, the adjuster bolt, and I made up a new bolt, and I put it on a different sled, and I reinforced it, and it was.
I had to
moving,
do it
and I thought
again.
that
It wasn't
why
good
it was
enough.
Throwing the belt. So that's been improved. So what I have to do right now is loosen up these bolts and shove the whole motor.
Yeah, let's see if we
forward
get a better
towards the
look.
Pump and put the belt on because this is a slightly.
There's the pump. It's small, that pump.
Even that motor, which I think is a couple of horsepower, can afford.
Somebody
to
gave me
run a
it.
big- Time I was having a lot of.
I had to
when get
reinforce
older,
it. That's the
But-
sled.
and
It
I'm
broke
using
that. I fixed all of
it.
that.
Yes,
And
died.
let's see. Can we
Motor.
go turn it on?
Tightened up.
Let's see.
Let me see what's going.
Just gonna keep. There we go.
Belt slop either.
It's pretty quiet.
All right, slowly building pressure. So this is just another filter here. And it rarely ever gets any water in it. We got a shut-off valve.
There's a
there.
refrigerant
I think there's
dryer
one
up
more
there.
tap. Got a regulator here, so I got regulated and unregulated.
Yeah, I see. It looks like I'm still having some issues though with YouTube. Let's see. Let me come back. Yeah, my internet sucks. I was gonna call them. I was actually just about to call them, and like I did another speed test to see. So that's the old Worthington. Let's see. Why is it? It says error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Well, right now it looks like it's okay, but it'll probably stream poor. Yeah. So I'm not going to stay on late tonight because it's just going to keep doing this stuff. All right. This is the problem with it. All right. It's my internet service. It's either the modem. It's not the router because all that is all new. We've gone over all of the connections, taken care of everything, and there's really nothing else I can do. I was, like I said, if it didn't clean up, I was just about to call them. I'm going to have to do it tomorrow because I'm getting sick of this crap. Because, yeah, it's definitely dropped. I can see it. I'm still getting the error. So it's going to just screw up the stream. Let me see what you guys are up to. Like, it came back. Yep, came back. Let's see. Let's see. I had a Charge Air Pro in the late 80s, 3 horsepower, 20 gallon. That's pretty good. That's a good size. It's all you really need. Put my pump and motor on it, John. Brushes, John. Yeah, no, it's not really the brushes. Yeah, an oversized tire inflator. Yeah. Kate says, hey, Arch, I checked out the brushes. I took it all apart. I put it back together again. What I noticed is I think it's in the armature and the coils. There's something not right in there. It's actually in the motor. The electric motor in the coiling and the windings. Something's not right in there. I saw some discoloration. It got hot. Like, it's just tired. It's old. That's an older unit. That little unit there that I got from Mikey. He used it for a while. They're oilless compressors. They're not made to last. They're not made very well. They suck. So he used it for a while. I don't remember where he got it from. Then he gave it to me, and I'm like, well, I'll use the tank. So that's what I wound up doing with it. I'm like, let's just use the tank. Let's just take a couple of little peeks at while I still have some internet I want to show you guys a little bit about the innards of the last look for now until I make a video on it. Let me see what I want to show you. Yeah, let's just take a quick peek at his deck. Now, his deck was in really nice shape. And he's just like cleaning it up. My deck is a mess. Let's see. I want to show you the... yeah, let's see. As I'm working on the deck real quick, just to see. We'll scrape through all of this stuff because I don't want to spend too much time on it. For an old machine, boy.
That looks good, doesn't it? Again, you can see the precipitate. It's been sitting out all day. It's dry.
See?
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on its butt, and we'll shoot a little bit underneath, and then we'll come up to the top, and I think we'll stay, again, we'll put a little tape over that.
I treated it with some acid.
Yeah, just real quick on the underside. And I don't know if we can, you can kind of see that, so maybe we'll put a little bit over that.
It got a treatment, it got cleaned, and then I used rusty metal primer on it. And that's the underside. Not bad.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, just a quick coat.
It's nice and clean.
Fancy
no real
just
rot
a light,
throughs.
Quick, thin coat.
There we go. Rusty metal primer.
Yeah, that's basically dry enough. I mean, it's not hardened. We don't need to get everything, but I flooded it, fellas. I got in there good.
Oh, I poured it on.
Side. Let me put it down, and I'm just gonna cover those stickers.
Oh, this is a battery project I'm working on.
All right. Well, here's something interesting.
Let's see. No, that's a separate deal. By the way, that's a nice charger.
I'm not gonna load
that little charger right there. I'm gonna do a review on it.
But it's gonna say.
That's a whole nother ball of wax. I'll do a review on it.
All right, last look. Threw a quick coat of paint on it earlier, and we're going to put it down on its, on its bottoms. What do you guys think? Right?
That's nice.
Isn't that nice?
Is that Ken?
He's giving me a hand. So we're almost done.
Ken says he can't see the chat. I don't know why.
And it didn't even take that long. Let's see. Say hey, Mike.
What's up, brothers?
Yeah, so he's all set.
You should be able to see it.
That's the My Machine. And
you guys are typing in it.
Looks like in a little while.
Nice pumpkin orange.
Yep. I'm gonna go grab a cup of coffee.
Anybody have any ideas?
And go make some and come back out. And we're just gonna grease what we need to get to, a little lubrication. I got the tops. This is close to the original color. He brought a bunch of cans over, and I have one that's a little bit darker. Even My Machine.
Yeah, Ken says he can't see the chat.
Is working on that part of the project. We're gonna.
There's Big Mike. What are you doing, Mike? He's probably upstate fooling around with this thing.
Everything is lubed. One more thing we want to lube before when he's done is we're going to check in here.
Yeah, it needed a little bit.
Mine on a while ago.
Yeah, that is a nice. That's a real gearbox, fellas.
So this is
look at this thing.
Yep. We just want to see it didn't have any in. Nothing came out, and that was my worry. These are the peerless stuff, and. This is nice stuff, fellas.
Yeah, it is.
A real gearbox in here.
That's it.
How do you not want that? Ah, there it goes. It just needed a little bit of love.
Yeah, it did. Oh, is that Mark? No, that's his.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like before I got it all painted and cleaned.
Yep. I know who he is. Hold on. I don't want to say anything right now.
It looks like Musty. He goes, Bravo goes.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Oh, okay. Ken says he sees it now.
Sweetness.
Yep, he's gonna go turn it on and everything. We just been
that's too funny. He looks like Musty. Yeah, she's looking good. Right before the final paint, the touch up. That looks good. That's what it looked like right before. Isn't that nice?
I don't walk properly.
No, I don't walk properly. I don't. Because I couldn't walk for years. That's why. This is what the hood looked like. Not terrible.
All right, I'm just doing a quick prep. Scotch Brite. And
a little bit of
acid because there was some rust on it. I should have shown you.
Yeah, it got the rust right off the phosphoric.
I did this to mine a while back, and then I just put some chain wax on it.
Yeah, mine's got chain waxed. I never painted mine.
All right, she's looking real good. So I'm just going to grab that Scotch Brite and just hit a few areas.
Yep, just a quick.
Right.
Just a quick prep.
There's a few spots back here.
This is as I'm prepping it. Oh, let's
All
see.
right, I'm just going to hit down here a little bit with some rusty metal primer. And a little bit in here, too. Just a few spots.
What the hell is that? Oh, look, wait. I like this paint cans. Check this out.
Check this out, fellas. All right. This has got to be one of the best improvements in a long time. It's just a way of nozzling out a spray can. So you could change your nozzle. Let me show you.
Yeah, I love that.
Get a little close.
It's
See
not on
different
all
nozzles?
the cans. You got to buy the
That's just
one with the
beautiful.
5-in-1.
So we got, this is 4. I think 4.
I'm saying.
All right, look. All right, you're not going to see the tractor yet. So I'm using dial number 5. All right, and the number's on the top, but the nozzle's on the bottom. Okay, straight 180 degrees. 12 o'clock the number, and the associated nozzle 6 o'clock. And that fan is this way, okay? Not this way, but this way, and it's sharp. Like I'll
Yeah,
be able to
very
come
sharp.
down and go up. Now I'm going to see if I can get it this way. Now there is a
Oh, wait, yeah.
piece. Arch, looking for all day.
Oh, and that's cool.
This is the piece I've been looking for all day, fellas. What piece is that, Arch? The last piece.
Yes, the last piece of the day.
Looking good. Looking good. Let's see if it fits. It should just go right on. Oh, fellas, that's nice. Yep. Oh, that's on there. Good. The last piece.
Yeah, that's
All
nice. Nice. I'm coming back. That is so cool. What a nice tractor. The last piece. The piece I've been looking for all day. The last piece. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like Musty. Dilly! He does look like Musty, yeah. Ken says, even in all, Christmas is absolute beast. Ken, did you see did you see the glow up? The glow up. This is Ken says simplicity, nothing simple about W. About what? This is simplicity, nothing simple about. Huh? I don't get things like that. That's what Big Mike says. He's like you don't get a lot of stuff. He's like, I'll be driving home and I'll be thinking about something like the way you looked at me and something stupid I said to you, and like I realized that it just went right over your head. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand things like that. Ken says, looks like a can of Raid. Yeah, I have a can of Raid over there. Yep. Nice machine. This is Mr. Mole all about it. Huh? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand certain things. Okay, so I'm done with that. And eventually he says, gotta go piss, be right back, Brett says. Yeah, I think that's about all I just wanted to show you. I am doing a video on this battery charger because I wanted to test it out. I got a bad battery in the van, so I'll probably put out some van videos just because I like working on cars, and it is Arch's Garage, but I mean, some of them get a few views. But I had a parasitic draw issue, and it turned out just like 2 years ago, or like maybe during COVID, and I couldn't find it. I killed 2 batteries. It was the winter, and I was trying to figure it out. Most of the days were really bad. The weather was horrible. I'm like, I can't figure out what's going on with this damn van. Turned out that I figured it out. It was the clock in the factory radio. It started to go, and it started to put like almost like a short. It's a very high load, and I didn't realize it. And all it took was like a week of some cold days and nights, and I didn't use the van, and it pulled the battery all the way down. And I couldn't get it charged again. So then I got another battery, and it killed that battery right away. And I figured it out. This battery that I have here, it's 2 years old. It's dead. It's got a bad cell. And trying to figure the problem out, I wound up burning out it was like a fluke copy. It was an older Japanese company, one of the companies that I was working for up by Cannon Tower Equipment. They had it, and I was like, well, I'll give you guys some money. I'll buy it, for whatever price it is, on their list. Because I needed another meter anyway. And it was a good meter. It had a lot of like good functions on it and all. And I had it for a long time. And I was running it in current mode, and something spiked, and it blew the fuses inside the meter. Well, when that happened, I could see what was going on in that moment in time, and I'm like, okay, I think I know where the problem is. And I went and found it. It was the biggest problem was the radio. So I disconnected the radio. There's actually 2 connections to the radio, as I come to find out, right? Because I was still having issues, which is just weird. And the radio is not easy to get out in a van. It's especially in cold weather. So I'm like, I just kind of like cut the wires. I'm like, the hell with this thing. And I go to look at the meter, and I'm like, okay, let's fix the meter. And I replaced the fuses in the meter. Then I'm testing stuff. I'm like, this meter's off. So I tried recalibrating it. I couldn't recalibrate it. I'm like, I threw it out. I'm like, what good is a meter that's not calibratable, that I can't calibrate, that is not right? Like, you need your meter to be correct. So I haven't had a decent meter, so I bought this thing. Hold on, let me show you. But I wanted to show you guys. I'll do a review on it. Now, I'm still not done with the diagnostics, because I noticed it. I measured a draw when I was working with the battery like a week or so ago, and I didn't write it down. I just have it on film because I'm doing like some tests. I got it on the camera, and I like these kinds of meters. Now, I'm going to get a couple of different meters, but I wanted to, since I didn't have anything, the one that I have is really for AC. It's a clamp-on meter, but it's not for DC. So this one is for DC. This is a true RMS. It's a clamp-on, but it's got capacitance, diode, test, zeroing, so you can zero it. It's got hold, and of course, it's got a DC up to, what is it, 600 amps. So when you get above 600 amps, they get very expensive, these meters. Let's turn it on. It's got beat mode, right? And so was working with it, and I wanted to test out the battery charger as well, which I'll show you in a minute. So it's got everything I need, and I was just doing a little bit of measuring with the current meter. And so one of the things that you can do with this, you could also figure inrush, for those of you that may or may not know. So when you're working with DC motors, I used to do this more back when I was working with variable frequency drives and stuff, and you need to know full load amps, FLA, inrush, running current, running voltage on both DC and AC. And I didn't spend much for it. It was very inexpensive. I forget the brand. I want to say Kaiwitz or something. I don't know. I can't see. I don't remember. But again, when I do the review. And another thing too, it has a touchless probe. So no, it's Mesteik, MESTEIK, or mistake, or I don't mistake. It's so stupid sometimes when they name stuff. And it's got the non-contact voltage as well. So when you put it into NCV mode, you can fish around, that's actually really nice for AC. That's very convenient because I still do work in AC. And if you kind of just say, for example, you want to go work on an outlet. And I don't know what breaker, I don't know. You can follow the current around, but you don't have to actually touch probes or anything. You just place it near it in that mode. You switch it to NCV, and you just kind of poke around. You're looking for voltage. Is it there? Yeah. Okay, it's not there now. All right, good. You know, that's the breaker. So that's kind of neat. But the other one I have is basically like this, except it's really just for AC. It can't even measure a 1.5 volt battery. But it's in my AC box. Like Ken had mentioned that he's got this box because he's like, Pate, go get a jumper. He's like, oh, I don't know where my jumper is. Like an hour later. Yeah, I have a bunch of different boxes. You know, I don't do any field work anymore, but even when you're just working on your house, it's nice to have different boxes that you can just grab and go to where you need to go. And I've got some basic boxes that I got a bigger electrical box and I have more of like a diagnostic box. And then I just started cleaning out my toolbox, my actual rollaway style drawer Craftsman box that I keep other things in. And that's where this is going to live. And then I just put a whole bunch of it came in this pouch, but I put a whole bunch of leads and stuff just so I can grab these two things quickly and easily. Let me put this away. And have them protected. But, you know, this will come in handy. There's another meter that I was looking at as well. But I needed something to measure DC current properly. Because there's still something not right. And this battery's like 2 years old and it's got a dead cell. So I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do one of those stupid battery videos where people try to fix these batteries. And like, I've been playing around with this for years. And like, you can't fix a dead battery. They put all these chemicals in it and try different things, which I did. I did a little bit of that. And I'm going to show it quick. But mostly what I'm going to show is what people don't show. Which they don't check the specific gravity of the acid, which if you don't know what the specific gravity of the acid is, I don't know what you're doing because that matters. And what they also don't show is the cells come apart when they get damaged. If you drop a regular lead acid battery to like 50% of its charge, you killed it. Maybe you'll get away with it. Maybe you only damaged it a little bit. Maybe it won't put up, you know, let's say it's a 600 cold cranking amp. Maybe it'll put 500 out. Maybe it'll last 3 years instead of 6. Maybe there's a lot of maybes in there. But generally speaking, if you pull a battery down to, you know, like 50% of its total power and it's standard lead acid, you killed it. And with mine, like I'll boil a battery. So I have a different charger that I made for that. You need an old school battery charger to boil a battery. I call it boiling. You have to continuously put a certain amount of voltage and current into the battery, and it does what's known as equalization of the cells. So you try to force enough electrons into all the cells to break down any of the barriers. And usually the barriers are a combination of things. Most people say it's just sulfates, but there's other things. And then you try to equalize the cells, and if all the cells boil, and if your electrolyte is good, and if you've done it for a long enough period of time, and even if you can empty out the battery and get some of the gook out of it, there's some things you can do to maintenance a battery, and it'll freshen it up. But if it's damaged, it's no good. I mean, that's the end of it. And so I show some of that. Like a battery will start to come apart. It just does. So there's all the stuff which I get into the video and dispel some of the myths. It's like Mythbusters type shit. You really can't. Now, let me get you this charger. So I bought 2 of these. One's actually out keeping the van charged so I can use it. Now, if you jump my battery, it has enough oomph left in it to start the engine. You could just put a jumper pack on it for a few minutes, and the cell will kind of come back enough, and you'll get 12 or so volts. And it'll run fine like that. But if you leave it for overnight or whatever, that cell will drop out. You'll get 10 volts, and that'll be the end of it. So this thing has a float charger on it as well. It's like $30. I was like, I'll just buy 2. This thing's pretty cool. And it does AGM as well as the LiFePo lithium ion. Okay. And a standard cell battery as well. And then it has this extra feature over here. Now, most of these chargers are automatic. And of course, the problem with an automatic is that you can never force a charge into a battery in an automatic because it will just shut off as soon as it thinks the battery is charged. But this thing here will put the battery on a cycle, and it will change the frequency and the voltage and the current going into the battery, and it will do it. It'll do it for quite a long time. I did it for several days, repetitively on and off, and then I did other things to this battery, and I tried it on some other batteries. It depends upon the state of charge, discharge of the battery, but it will pump a lot of juice in and equalize the cells. So you can do an override here. So this is like a semi-automatic / automatic with the correct float charge, and you can choose what battery you want to charge with it. So it's important because it's like you need about 14 and change or so, 14 for a regular lead acid. You need 14.4 for an AG. Well, for a LiFePO, you need 14.4, but you can float it at 13.8. And it's kind of the same way, somewhere in that range. I might be getting like a little bit off, but the same thing for an AGM. You need more voltage for an AGM. A lot of people try to put those batteries into their cars, their older cars, and the battery won't last. You'll kill the battery quickly. And those batteries, you can't force like a charge into it the same way because they're glass mat. So you'll kind of kill it. Sometimes you can bring them back, but you're probably going to have to go out and buy another battery. So you want to check, if you ever want to use an AGM on an older car or truck, you're going to want to look to see that you could make, I don't know, over 14.5 volts. You've got to be able to make at least 14.5 volts. If you could, not 13.8 or 14, you got to be like 14.4, 14.5. And then you'll be able to charge the battery. And then what you want to see is that it will float around 13.8 for sure, and not come down to 12 or anything like that, because the AGMs require a lot more. And as far as a LiFePO, I don't know if I'd want to put that in a vehicle just yet. Just saying. I don't know how. You need a really good one, and that's going to be a lot of money. Let's see. Got to go piss. I got to piss too in a bit. Nothing simple about it. It is simple. The Sunstars are simple. I think they're simple. But then again, I say, like, after I working at Grumman for all those years, right, bunch of years, I'm like, after I got out of Grumman, like, everything else is like working on a pencil sharpener. Let's see. Johnny Bravo says you haven't mentioned Liz in a while. What's up with Liz? Oh, I don't know. She's I don't know what she does. Humada. Yeah. Says Miss Mo, it's all about special meter for microamp draws. Wait, Mr. I bought a special meter for microamp draws. Yeah, because everything's got like a sensitivity to it, and that's why I started with this one. It was like, well, this works within the range that I'm going to be measuring, and I don't need anything more precise. I need something that I can grab. And it's going to be over by the van. It's not really a bench meter per se. And I just need something decent to get me back into it. And then I was looking at a couple of others. There's also a nice one. There's a nice little cheap Fluke for about $40 or so. It was one that Zippo recommended. You see it on Amazon. It's about $40. It's a good general purpose, knock around, decent Fluke meter. Not a lot of bells and whistles, but for a lot of what we do with small equipment, it's perfect. So that might be on a list too at some point. Same thing with the Klein too. The Klein has Klein's quality has definitely come down. But I was watching a fellow the other day. He was doing a video on the Klein wire cutter strippers, and yeah, they really lost quality. And I'm like, what do you mean they're no good? I've got a bunch of them I stole from the pack rack and over at Apco Refrigeration. We used to get them from over there. This is going back. They still have them. They're not like dull. They didn't mess up. Yeah, he was showing how he was cutting a bunch of wires and they were going dull right away. And it had something to do with the heat treating. And I don't know. I don't remember who it was, but that video's out there. And he wound up like reheat treating and tweaking, and I don't know. Quality has definitely gone down for sure. What did he recommend? I think you guys were talking about it one day. You were it was the same brand. I think at Ken's show, Ken, one of you guys was talking about some pair of wire cutters or diagonal cutters or something. I heard the brand. I was wandering around in here. I'm like, oh, I think that's the one the guy recommended. Like everybody has. I don't have it. You know, but my tools are older. So when I bought a lot of those tools, it was years ago when quality was job one. Say, okay, back. Red says, I noticed at the end of that Cub Cadet video, you just, wait, at the end of the Cub Cadet video, you put my song at the end. Love that too. Oh, yeah. That one, the one that I just did, no, that's a different tune. That's a different one. But yeah, I don't know what's going on, Liz. I spoke to her the other day. She was her youngest daughter has hearing issues. Something's wrong with her ear. Like all kinds of issues. So she was like damn near close to being deaf. But they've done some work to the ear and whatever. I don't remember, fellas. I don't listen. But she brought it back in for another little surgical tweak. It was quick. It was like a cut and a snip or whatever. And it was starting to build up. I know sometimes the eustachian tubes get blocked, but she had another issue. And so she was getting a little bit blocked up and having some issues. And she brought her in, and it was pretty quick. But I could tell she was nervous. She says no. But, you know, when I get the text, you know, the updates and everything, I'm like, yeah. And so I just made myself available. But it went fine. And it drained right away. I'm like, can she hear better? She's like, yeah, immediately. I'm like, that's good. That's good. Yeah, definitely. When they're real young, the problem is it's a mechanical issue. And we're, as human beings, when we're little midget humans, we're, especially in the ear, things, the geometry changes slightly, but there was something else as well. And it's, you can't fix everything right away. You got to kind of wait. There might be another operation or something scheduled when she turns, I want to say 16, 17, 18, somewhere in that neighborhood. There's some other options. I said, well, why don't you just do this first? It's a good stopgap measure. There's really no real big risk. There's a lot of upside. It might buy a few years. You don't want to not do anything. You don't want to just do it with chemicals. And because what happens is you start to get infected and then you're on antibiotics. It screws up your body. And I'm like, surgeons do a really good job these days, you know. I mean, a lot of the medical system's all screwed up. That's true. But a lot of it isn't. You got to pick and choose your battles. So everything went good there. Although I hit her up tonight to see if she was okay. She didn't get me back. So I don't know. Maybe she doesn't feel well or whatever. I still worry, you know, make sure everybody's okay. And, yeah, but I feel for the little ones, you know. And it's one thing when we're adults and everything, but when the little ones have issues, it bothers me, you know. They shouldn't have to go through any of that stress. But other than that, yeah, just doing my thing. I've been just clamped down at work constantly and just trying to get as much done as possible. Oh, it is, Henry. What's up, Henry? So, yeah, as much work as I can get done. So I'm going to do a little video on this because I tested it for like a week. I just kept fooling with that battery. I'm like, well, while I'm working on the tractor, let me fool around with this battery project. My hypothesis is, yeah, you can't fix a broken battery, but I needed a real battery charger. All of my other ones broke. My Schumacher electronic one, it burned out. The capacitors are shot. So I'm not recapping that right now. Let me get a meter. Let me get a charger. I'm like, all right, I'll buy two, $30. I'll use one for, I got tons of batteries in here. Tractor batteries, other batteries, whatever. Plus, now I'm starting to get into lithium or the LiFePO. So I need a charger that will do that. My charger's for boiling batteries. So I'll get that. I'll leave the one in the van. And the only thing I can think of is because I really don't know if I fully have solved the problem in the van. And it tends to sit. You really need like a deep cycle battery for a vehicle like that. Because these cheap batteries that you get, you know, at the auto parts store today, they're crap. They're meant to start the car and then immediately be charged. And if you leave the vehicle set and there's a computer connected to it, And like I said, I measured the draw. I haven't figured out what the what the amperage draw is or the wattage draw is, but I'll sit down and do that. But the thing is, if you leave it set, I went through this with the Nova. Even the Nova, like the Nova had no real draw because once you shut the key off, there was nothing there. But the battery would sit. It would sit outside. It would sit in here. I would forget about it. The winter would go and come and go, and then you'd go to start it, and you'd have problems. With the van, it's different because it actually has a load on it from the computer, and it's an older computer, and it may even be starting to get weird. I don't know. I'd have to figure out. I have to do some research and find out what is the current draw. The standby draw on an older computer like that. Like what was it supposed to be originally, and then I can measure it now. I don't know. I'm not that guy. All I know is it will keep killing expensive batteries. And a deep cycle battery or something that's like an AGM, like the yellow Optimum batteries, they're like $300. So my answer for now is buy a $30 one of these and leave it with an extension cord out there until I'm ready to suck on that wind, right? Oh my God, what a horror. The van needs some other work, so I need to do it. Like every year I go for inspection and the guy says, you still haven't done what I told you to do. When are you going to do that? It needs rear shocks. It needs this. And I'm like, I got to do it. So time to spend some money there and enough with spending money on all this other stuff. Let's see. Charlie says hi. Nice. What are you doing, Henry? Henry took a nap. He just woke up. He wanted to stop in and say hi. Yep. That's what I've been doing. I've been trying to grab a nap here and there, like every now and then. Like, yeah, speaking of Liz, I think it was it earlier in the week or last Saturday or maybe it was I don't remember. But I texted her to say hi, and I'm sitting here, I'm relaxing. And sometimes she doesn't answer me right away because she's busy or whatever. And I'm like sitting back, kicking back. And all of a sudden I hear the stupid text. I'm like, oh, it's her. Right? So then I answer it, and I don't hear anything. So I'm like sitting back and like fall asleep. And then she texts. I'm like, can you stop? I'm like, you're not answering me right away. What you're doing is you're giving me enough time to pass out and then waking me back up again. So yeah, I've been working to that point where I'm like, all right, I'm done. All right. I've even started going to bed a little earlier, fellas. Like I'm not going to bed at like 3, 4 in the morning anymore. Now I'm like starting to go to bed at like more human times, you know. Let's see, hi, you're good. Good guesser, I'll tell you. Yeah. Good seeing you earlier, Ken's, yeah. Yeah, that was, I enjoyed that show. It was a good watch. And I'm glad you guys were able to help him out. Because like I said, a lot of people don't get that experience, with the electrical stuff. It is kind of like a whole thing unto itself. And the tractors are a good way to learn. There's not much to learn on a lawnmower or anything like that. There's nothing there to learn. But the tractors these days, with all the little gadgets they've got, like that stupid gadget that I just would have ripped it out. I would have just bypassed it, jumped it out. The one thing I don't like, though, is that any time there's something flaky with a wiring issue and you jiggle a wire and it starts to work again or whatever, like that's when I go in deep. Because I just feel like it's just going to be a problem later on. So, yeah, went over all the wiring on that Sunstar, figured all that stuff out. I think I'd mentioned to you that clutch system works on, they switch the negative side of the power circuit, which is something that you can do. You don't have to just switch the positive side. In control systems and stuff like that, you can also, you start to learn a little bit more about, let's say, reverse logic, which reverse logic is just the opposite of normal logic, which usually normal logic is you close something for an action, but reverse logic is it's normally closed and you open it to create an action. And you can also switch both sides of the power circuit. So you can switch the negative side. And when I kind of noticed that on Mike's Sunstar, I was looking at it and I'm like, where is the ground on this? Like, what's going on? That's kind of from that experience, I was able to deal with it, and I just made my own relay logic. And throughout that module, that was no good. I don't know if somebody hasn't really had any experiences and stuff like that or hasn't gone to school for electronics. That might freak them out. Yeah, that might get into a point where like they would give up. I don't know. I can't think that way anymore. It's just been so long. I've been doing it, for just ever. But I want to get back into like electronics a little bit more, and I've been studying some of it, but it's a little boring. Some of it is. If you really want to get into it, it starts to get a little bit boring. It's fun when you're working on a project that you really want to work on, but to just study it is a little boring. That's what I always found. So, yeah, let's see how long we've been doing. So right now we're an hour and 23 minutes in. So, yeah, I'm probably only going to go to like the half-hour mark, the next half hour, and mark it there. It's like we'll be at like 2 hours. So we're at a minute, 1 hour, 23, and 55 seconds. So we'll get to like the 2 hour or close to the 2 hour. Let me see if I have something I just want to show you real quick. Yeah, I've got so many videos to go over. God knows when I'll find the time to do any of this shit. Let me see what this is. Hold on. All right, look, just to show curdled. You can. No, I don't want that one. Let's see. Yeah. Let me show you what's inside a battery. This is the goop. You might be able to see. I don't think you're going to see it well. And I didn't want to get the camera too close because this shit's acid. Watch. Now you should be able to see the bottom because it's only like not even an inch. It's like a half an inch to a quarter of an inch. But we'll move the camera around a little bit. You can almost see the bottom. It's settling out. I'm going to go filter this and we're going to pour this into a container that I have. You should be able to see the bottom of that, but you can't. And here's another one. Oh, wait, here, let me show you these two. Now, I did this a number of times. Here. And look, right, how dark that is. I know that there's still some shadow and light from the sky. But you could see how dark it is. Now I'll bring this out back and I'm gonna dump this. But yeah, look at all the material. You can already start to see. That's battery material with some sulfates. That's the battery. Now some of it is sulfates or sulfites. No, it's sulfates. No, it's sulfation. So it's a sulfate because the sulfite is different. I'm gonna look that up again. But it's been a while for me with chemistry. But that's it. All right, we're gonna let that. That's your battery. There you go. There's your sediment. There's even some copper in it. Now we're indoors. Well, that's the dog. Hear him? Look. He's making bark sounds. He wants to go in. Bark sounds. Hold on. He gets so mad at me. Look at all of that material in there. See it all? Everybody's like, Arch, will you let the dog in? Yeah, I'm gonna. Look at all of that. Yeah. That's your battery. Okay. And I kept doing that. I cleaned that battery, rinsed it out, charged it, put magnesium sulfate in it, charged it, rinsed that out, poured that. Every time, that's what came out of the battery. And it just kept coming out. And the reality is that batteries die. They shed, because the material, the lead that's on the plates, is when they make the lead, it's ground up pretty fine, and they turn it into a slurry, and then they make like a pate out of it. Like pate, that stuff that you put, not like Pate Performance, but like the pate that you put on your cracker. They make like a pate, and they bond it to the substrate. It's got a bit of bonding agent in it, and they put it on the substrate, and then I think they just kind of heat it and cook it. But not enough to melt it, just enough to where it adheres. And the sulfates come out of the solution and try to migrate into this pate, and it'll get stuck on there. And the way it goes back into solution is you charge the battery right away. But this constant movement back and forth, not to mention that you're driving the battery around and it's shaking. And eventually, all that shit falls to the bottom of the battery cell, the bottom of the plastic. And it can build up quite a bit. Like you can get like a half an inch or so and the battery will still kind of work. But this is a 2-year-old battery with almost no mileage on it. It's got like almost no mileage on this battery. It's 2 years old. And it just is coming apart. So you can't fix that. You know, I see all these videos like you could fix a battery if you put magnesium sulfate in it, you know, or whatever the hell you want to put in. They put all this crap in there, and I'm like, you could service a battery a little bit if you want to wash it out a little bit and put a little fresh acid in and put an equalization charge on it. And when you put the equalization charge on, you need to run it for like, I don't know, 24 hours or something like that, at least. When they make a battery and they put it together, it's called formatting or formation. They crank. Some battery manufacturers, they'll put like a lighter weight acid in, you know, a lighter acid in it, and they'll run it on a certain power for about 32 hours, and then they'll discharge it, and then they'll do it again. And it's a secret formula. They really won't tell you the exact process. And they'll do that again. And then if it passes all those charge and discharges, and it seems like it's okay, and they run the test, they dump it and they put the high strength acid in, and then they ship it out. So that's like a 48-hour process. So charging a battery for an hour really doesn't do very much. And if the battery's been discharged for too long or too frequently, what winds up happening is it just comes apart. And I've actually seen this in the gel cells where a much older battery has been taken apart, and the lead turns into an oxide, which looks like rust oxide. It goes from that nice lead gray color to like a reddish brown, almost black in some areas. And it's all oxides. So, and sulfates. And there's nothing you can do with that. You can take it apart, give it to the battery recycle people, and they cook it. And they melt it, and they burn off all the garbage, and some of it comes back as regular lead. Let's see. You can see. I'll do a vid on the new compressor. Yeah, definitely do a vid on the new compressor. Sounds like the reed valves on an old Lawn Boy 2-smoker when you crank it over. Yeah, they'll make with those things. Sometimes you can flip them around the other way, and they'll work. But the spring steel gets tired after a little while. But let's see how long I can make that cigarette last. I'll take another 2 puffs out of it and I'll put it out. But yeah, shit goes just... It's like you can't fix some things. You just can't. Unfortunately, everything got really expensive. I think a battery like that might have been like 4 years ago, maybe $80. I don't know, what is it now? Like $200, $150, $180? I mean, it's like ridiculous. 600, like about 600 and change, 675 cold cranking amps. So that would be a good medium-sized battery. That would be kind of pricey. So $300 for like a really good like AGM deep cycle, that's not terrible. It's not good either. That's a lot of money. And I want to make sure, another reason why I want to keep this battery is I want to make sure that it's a new alternator. The charging system seems fine, but I want to make sure everything else has gone over, especially before the end of this, this season, before it gets really cold. And when I'm comfortable with that, then if over the winter time I have a little bit extra cash, which I doubt, well, then I'll buy a new battery and I'll pop it in there because I'm getting sick of the extension cord already. Traipsing across my lawn and having to constantly keep the damn thing on charge. But everything is just so expensive. What am I supposed to do, What a nightmare. Let me see what else we got. A lot of this footage is too boring. I've got so much footage, but I got to cut it all up and basically narrate over it and make it like 20, 30 minutes max. Yeah, I think this is the other tool. Wait. Yeah, that's my other.
Let me see if I
meter.
can get you to see it. You may not see it.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, this is my other meter. Hold on.
Oh, it just went down to 9. But she's 10 volts, right? I believe it's this cell that's dead. But I forget now.
Yeah, it's the one on the right. It's the positive cell. That's my other meter.
Oh, just see if I can get you to see it. You may not see it.
That's really for AC.
Because of the... Oh, it just went down to 9.
Yeah, 10 volts.
But she's 10 volts, right? I believe it's this cell that's dead. But I forget
Yeah, it's the
now.
it's the one right next to the positive
you know,
post. Yeah, let's take a look at this. The new meter. I like the new meter. Look, it's a little battery charger. Oh, there's a little battery charger. I like it. It's a nice, crappy little battery charger. I would totally recommend it.
She's about
There it is.
18%. And as you can see, hold on. Well,
That thing has some weight to it, by the way. It actually feels good. It doesn't feel
be able to see
chintzy.
it. I'm getting 21 volts.
Yeah, she's cranking out 21 right there. 22,
Yeah.
23. It'll go up to 40.
7 volts is what I see. I know the lighting is weird in here.
Let's see. I'll show you another little jammy of it. If I have it near handy. Let me check. Is that? Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah, here's the hydrometer test. With Brent, another indication too is that when I put, I'm coming back. When I put the fresh acid in, Mike actually had a bag of acid, fresh acid, and when I tested the acid right from the bag, in a jar, it was good. Like pinned the meter, the scale. And then I put it in the battery and charged it, and it came down, right? Because the battery is loading. The internal resistance, I think I actually did measure it. I don't remember what it was. The newer electronic battery testers, I don't have one of those. I do want to get one. They're useful for things like that because they can safely test the resistance inside the battery. But a lot of that sediment that's on the bottom of the battery will increase the resistance of the battery because it's conducting electricity. It's scattering the electrons across the bottom of the battery because it's sitting in electrolyte, and it is semiconductive lead mixed with oxide sitting in the bottom of a thing of electrolyte, and it's just going to scatter the electricity essentially throughout the entire bottom of the battery, disrupting everything. It sits at the bottom of the cells. It gets in the way. It'll build resistance, and that's one of the ways that you'll find that the battery is going bad because it'll have a high internal resistance. So if you have one of those meters, those new style meters, that's one of the first things you look for. If you boil the battery and it gets a little bit better, you might be okay. But when you see a lot of resistance in there, then you know your battery's dead. And if a cell doesn't boil, like mine, the cell on the right, it would never boil. I boiled that battery on and off for days, and it was shooting acid out the top like a volcano. But that one cell would not come back because somewhere in there, although it will pass electricity, somewhere in there is something's in the way, or a connection is broken to a degree, which you'll see somewhat in the battery itself and the internal resistance of the battery, and it will never come back. There's no way to fix it. I even shook the battery and banged it a little bit and knocked it with a little rubber hammer, and I'm like, come back, I need you. You're expensive. No, it's 2-year-old battery. Was it auto something or other? What was that thing? Piece of shit. What do you want? Like, it just couldn't handle it. Would a better battery do better? I don't know. I've seen this with a lot of batteries. There was a rash of crappy batteries. Optima had a rash of crappy batteries when they first started making stuff in Mexico. They had a run of bad batteries. Excite had a run of bad batteries. There was a couple of years where Craftsman Golds were a piece of crap. Craftsman Platins were a piece of crap. Like the list goes on and on. Like, I don't know what happens. Like, manufacturers at some point make planes that fall out of skies. They also make space capsules that don't work right. Boeing. I don't know what to tell you. And then you get to buy it. Let me see.
So on
there
the
it is.
negative, large wire coming straight out of the battery, not the one going to ground, but the one, I guess, going over
Let's
to
see,
the
what do I
ground
see?
here. It's not
2
the small
amps.
one. So
3
it's
amps.
3.02 on the negative side. So there's a slight difference, right? Very small.
Yeah, there's an interesting difference.
3.01. It's
Let's see. I was measuring the
All right,
current
let's
draw.
take a look at the amp draw. Hopefully you can see it. I know the glare is hard.
1.87 amps on the
1.90,
positive
I saw
side.
about 2 amps.
Yep.
right up. I opened up the door.
Let's see. I'm going to start it.
This glare is crazy. As we're going to get, fellas.
I
but we
hate
might be
glare
able to
on these
see it.
stupid meters. Oh, there it went down to 10. See, but I charge at about 14
All right,
and
we're getting
change.
about 14, 20.
Now you can't see it.
For
So,
charging? Probably not.
I don't really charge enough for an AGM. I'd have to do more testing, but I don't think I would want to put an AGM battery in that van. It's an older van, right? 90s, 96, 97. And you put an AGM in that, you could do it, but you'd have to periodically charge the battery. I don't know. It depends on how often you use it, but my guess would be once a month you'd have to get out there and do a really good charge on an AGM because you'll kill it. Like you want to see a solid 14.4 or something and a flow to 13.8. And I don't think that older alternator will do it. So that's my take on it. But let's see. We sold a nice D-Series Lawn Boy from 74 not long ago. Had the D600 engine in it. I've got a bunch of Lawn Boys back there. I've got an area in the back behind the shed where there's a whole bunch of beat up, somewhat burned out Lawn Boys. I put them over there for YouTube, in the future. So I don't even know what's over there at this point. I think there's enough parts there to make certainly one old school Lawn Boy, maybe two. It wouldn't be in the best of shape, but it would be, that's why I saved it. I'm like, well, I made the one that I have, which is nothing fancy. It's just an older commercial with a 4-stroker in it that with a beat motor. But the rest of it's all nice and clean, so I can drop another motor on it. And then whatever else is back there is just like, well, I'll just kind of shove it over here, and hopefully one day I'll get to it, along with all the other stuff that's back there. There's a whole bunch of gems like hidden back there that I haven't been back there in like a year. So I need to get over there. There's a bunch of projects that I want to get out before the end of the season. There's some nice black Craftsmans back there. There was even a couple, front-wheel drivers, like something with high wheels. People buy those. They'll buy them in the fall, too. If it comes with a bag and everything's in nice shape, they'll buy those. They're nice machines. There was a couple that are electric start, and then I saved a couple of old Takumi-powered green Craftsmans for myself. So they're back there as well. But, yeah, I'm going to get out of here, though. We're an hour and 40 minutes. And this way, because I'm tired now, because I got aggravated getting in here and getting started. It's already getting late. I want to go nosh on some junk, see if I can rifle through the refrigerator and see what's going on over there. But I just wanted to show you fellas all of that stuff with the Sunstar. I worked late. I got it done. I got it out. He's happy. And I don't think I'm going to do anything with my Sunstar. I don't really need to do anything with it. We have an extra set of tires that are going to be floating around. We've got the, what is that? What's back there? We got the Sovereign. That's back there. So that's going to come up on a project list. I got a whole bunch of video footage I got to go through. I want to do a review on the meter, a review on that battery charger. I want to make a 20-minute video or so on why you can't fix a battery and a bunch of other stuff just to have some fun. I bought these products so I can do a review on them and not be encumbered by anything or anybody saying, we want you to do this. Let's stay away from all of that. But yeah, good night, Henry. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna hit the road. I'm gonna run that. Hold on, I want to run that footage one more time. Hold on. We gotta run the glow up one more time, and we'll go out with the glow up, right? Because that was cool. I thought that was cool. Hold on, let me cue that up. Can't not run glow up. Hold on. The Sunstar glow up coming up. Yeah! I came nice. Wow. No. She's sweet. Good luck with it, Mike. It is kind of ugly, though. It's got that 80s look. Oh, my babies need some help. There's the doggy. There's Musty. Night, fellas.